Greetings from Ogunquit, Maine.
Friends, we have traveled south down Highway 1 along the coast of Maine to Ogunquit, and we have some tales to catch you up on. Since our last episode, we've been on the No Whale Whale Watch boat ride from hell, driven south along the coast of Maine on beautiful Highway 1, and we're spending a couple of days in Ogunquit to explore the area around here. Beth, I'm going to have you catch our friends up on what we've done since the last podcast.
If you let me start talking, I may not stop because there are so many tales to tell. But we did start yesterday morning with another nice drive through Acadia National Park, hit a couple of the high spots again that we saw on the Ollie's Trolleys tour, picked up a few more souvenirs, and then went back into Bar Harbor to wait for our whale watch tour. We were having a lovely day until we got on that damn boat.
And what happened then?
Okay, so it was kind of a blustery day yesterday in Maine, in Bar Harbor, Maine. And you know it's never good when you're sitting on a boat full of people. What would you say? There are probably 200 people on that boat. Yeah. And it had 3 levels. We were on the main level inside, not sitting outside, because it was cold. Mm-hmm. And the captain comes on talking about the rough seas and the fact that if you are prone to motion sickness, it would be best if you disembarked. Full refund. I looked at you and said, do you want to leave? And you said, oh, no, we're going to stay. And I'm thinking,
I wanted to see a whale.
I did too, but I was thinking this is not going to be the day that it's going to happen. So are you going to let me tell this whole story? Are you going to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All you,
so I'm going to preface this, as I do so many things, by saying one of the things that I abhor the most in the entire world is vomiting. I don't like to do it. I talk myself out of it. I know, even though I would feel better. I cannot stand to hear, see, or smell other people do it. It's my worst nightmare. Okay. And I know, and you don't care for it either.
No, I'm not a big fan.
So, as I mentioned, the captain comes on with this warning. There were some smart people who got off the boat. Mm-hmm. So we're starting out on this trip, and this is really, I think, what's funny. This just talks about how we've been together for 18 years. So I was trying to relay this story to a friend of mine, and I texted her and I said, you know that scene in Stand By Me where the kids doing the blueberry eating contest and people start getting sick? I said it was a lot like that. And then when we called that friend today, that's exactly, you didn't know that I said that. And you said that exact thing to her. And it just cracked me up because that's all I could think about. So here we are on this ship, and it was rolling. And
it was rough. It wasn't just bumpy going out. Even when it
fun
stopped,
waves.
Yeah. It wasn't just the fun waves. It was the roll. We went a little far over to the right or the left side there.
Yes. So prior to getting on the boat, I had some of those seasick pills that we had taken when we went to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And they supposedly expired in July. You were reticent to take one, but thank God you did.
Yes.
I took one. You and I were fine.
Yes, we were.
20 people around us, not so much.
No.
It's always another not so great sign when you sit down at the table and there are little envelopes that contain the motion sickness bags and instructions on how to use them. Mm-hmm. And 20 people were using them all around us. It was the worst 3.5 hours of my entire life. And then to top it all off.
How many whales did you see?
Zip. I saw 3 seabirds that I probably could have seen from land. Now, in fairness to the Bar Harbor Whale Watch Company, mm-hmm. they are willing to offer a voucher where mm-hmm. you can come back within 3 years, free of charge, get on the boat, go look for whales. I'm never getting on that frickin' boat again. Ever.
Well, and I found myself, it took me a while to figure out why my legs felt so sore. And it was because of all of the energy. And it was basically a workout trying to stand up and even walk on that boat to go down to get some snacks and then make my way back up the steps from the galley into where we were sitting. And then on the few times that I did try to stand up, because they would say that they'd seen spouts or they'd seen some whale activity in the distance, and I'm up there with my camera ready to go, just trying to maintain my balance. It was a good lower body workout. So at least I did get that.
I'm just impressed with you going down to the galley to get some snacks as hundreds of people around you were vomiting into bags.
Well, I made the snack run early.
Yes, you did. The vomiting probably started 25, 30 minutes into the trip.
Yeah, it didn't take too long. So it was an hour ride out to where we went to watch the whales. And then we sat out there for roughly an hour or so. And then
it was a rough hour.
And then had a really fun hour-long ride back into...
Honestly, it was all of my worst nightmares coming true. And little did I know that you told me later about your actual nightmares of being on a ship and being overcome by a wave. And so that makes sense on the maybe 4 times that I opened my eyes and looked at you, because my eyes were tightly shut, so I wasn't viewing people vomiting. When I looked at you, and you just had kind of an alarmed look on your face. So now it makes sense to me why. I thought initially it was the alarm of all the people vomiting around us, but no, it wasn't that.
No. And the one time when you really wish you had your earbuds so that you could listen to more podcasts
or music or
anything
besides people barfing into bags 5 feet away from you.
Yes. But let's talk about the good thing that happened then after we got off the whale watch.
Well, number one, I wanted to, kiss the ground and be thankful that we were on, firm terra firma, whatever they call it. Yeah, what happened then? I don't know. I was still so obsessed with it.
Then we went to get lunch.
Yes, because we actually were hungry. I don't think there were many people that were hungry, but we were.
And we came upon the Finback Ale House in Bar Harbor, and it was absolutely a magical meal. Because what did you have?
I had macaroni and cheese with crab and lobster. So they called it something fancy. I don't know. And then with crunchy things on top. But I got to tell you, it's probably the best thing I've eaten since I've been here.
And I had the tastiest cheeseburger.
Because you just wanted meat after that ordeal.
I'd already had a bunch of lobster, I think, the day before. I just, I'm a Hoosier. I just needed a good cheeseburger.
And it was a good cheeseburger. But
it was delicious.
One of the better parts of that whole meal was our cute little waiter. I
think his name was Mark. That's what it said on the ticket.
Can't remember for sure.
He was lovely.
He was adorable. And he reminded me of the Notre Dame leprechaun because he had that cute little beard going on and whatnot. But he was a doll and he was sweet. And he told us where we could go get some blueberry pie.
At the Pink Pastry.
Yes. And that was probably some of the most delicious. Blueberry pie was really good.
Maybe the best pie I've ever
Blueberry
had.
Pie. My mother made the best pie ever. So we'll
leave it at that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then.
Okay. So when we got back to the Love Shack, you were too emotionally exhausted and physically exhausted, I think, to podcast last night.
Oh, there was going to be no podcasting. I didn't have the capacity to podcast.
You didn't have the stomach for it.
Nice. No, I did not have the stomach to podcast last night. So let's talk about what we've done today.
Well, I think yesterday might have set the tone for some of our adventures today.
Do you think maybe the fact that we haven't been more than 10 feet away from each other since Friday morning might have played a part in that?
That's not true. I lost you in LL Bean today, just to give 20 minutes alone.
I wondered. I almost texted you to see where you were.
That's a big story.
You were hiding. Oh, the things you learn when you make a podcast with your spouse.
I just needed a little break. That's all.
I understand. So I started out cranky this morning.
You were, and that's my fault, because we're getting up and I'm like, okay, I wanted to lightly clean the place that we'd stayed because it was so nice and they were very wonderful hosts, and I just wanted to do a little something. And so I was get up, boom, in cleaning mode, and you were get up and boom, not in cleaning mode.
No, I was not.
No.
So then we worked through that.
We did.
We talked it out like grown-ups.
We did. Yes.
And then we stopped in Camden, Maine.
Yes.
Along Highway 1. Oh, because then we kind of got into it about the map and the navigation. And and at what point when I figure out that we're not going the right way, that I need to start voicing that concern. I've learned a lot today.
Well, you would think after now we'd know each other better than we do. But think about the things that couples fight about. We don't fight about money.
No.
We don't fight about kids.
No.
we got to fight about directions. I mean, come on.
If that's the best thing we can come up with, then that's okay.
Yeah. It's just, I think we both have different expectations in that regard.
Oh, yes. And we'll talk more about managing expectations here in just a few minutes. But Camden, thumbs up. If you have the opportunity to stop in Camden, it's wonderful.
Yeah, that was a cute town with neat shops, and it was nice.
I loved it. And then we were on to Freeport, Maine, to stop at LL Bean. Do you think anybody's going to be surprised if I say, I bought a brand new flannel today?
No, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised about that. Perhaps surprised that I didn't buy a flannel. I bought a fleece.
So our needs were met at LL Bean. And it was pretty much everything I had expected that it would be. It was a really big store, though. It was a little bit bigger than I thought.
You know, I had been there probably 30 years ago, and they have enlarged it because if I recall correctly, it was all under one roof. And as you saw today, there was LL Bean Home and LL Bean Fishing, Boating, and all this other stuff. So yeah, they've had to expand the campus, I'm sure.
But it was fabulous. So if you get the opportunity, go. It's fun.
It's worth the trip.
And then we arrived in Ogunquit.
Okay.
Do you want to pick it up from here?
You know, I think you can certainly interject, especially if you disagree with what I'm saying. So last night,
remember, I can always edit you out.
Yeah, I you know you're editing. Don't you wish you could edit me in real life? So last night, I was looking through TripAdvisor to try to find out where we were going to stay, and we had narrowed it down to Ogunquit, but we were just trying to find a nice place to stay, and it'd be hard to top where we've been for the last 4 days because that was so cool. But we wanted, you know, kind of a quaint experience while we're in this town as well. I was getting very, very frustrated. The internet was slow, and I just wasn't in the mood to be looking for things. So I kind of shoved the iPad to you and said, you know, do this because it's frustrating me. And being the dutiful, obedient wife that you are, I like how you laugh at that. You picked up the iPad and by God, you found us a place.
I did.
You did. And it was the wrong place. I thought you picked the Colonial Inn, which doesn't it just give the idea and thought of just a quaint little place to stay on the water in Maine?
It sounds lovely. It looked lovely when we pulled into the parking lot.
It sure did. It didn't look lovely when we walked up to the reception area and they say, we don't have your reservation. Perhaps you've confused us with someone else. Oh, no. And you had to go back out to the car, get your phone. And the minute I saw you walking in the door with the look on your face, I'm like, oh, crap, we're screwed. We're at the wrong place. Now, I said this at dinner and I stand by this. I'm still not 100% sure that this was your fault. You didn't do this on purpose. I don't like booking.com. There, I said it. I think they got something a little goofy. So I'm not blaming you. There, I've said that.
I still think it was operator error on my end.
I think the only thing you could have done different, here's a travel tip for you folks.
Oh, yeah.
When you book something through Expedia, Travelocity, Booking.com, whatever travel site you use, when you get that confirmation email, and you'll get it right away.
Open it up and read it.
Check it, because it's going to tell you where you're staying. And if you're not staying at the Colonial Inn, you better fix it. Because now you know where we are? The Ogunquit Motor Inn. Woo! No, wait, motel. The
no,
Ogunquit.
it's...
Oh, no, wait, they put resort in there to make it sound fancy.
Yeah,
The
but
Ogunquit.
it's quite lovely.
Okay, well, all right. So when we pull up, it's one of those motels, because they can call it a resort motel, but it's a motel, where the doors open directly to the outside. I don't like that. Like you can pull your car right up to your door and load the dead bodies in from there, which is, you know, what it makes me think of to have a motor lodge. So the saving grace is they did have one section that has interior rooms, you know, doors that open into a hallway versus, you know, a parking lot. And that's where we are.
And it's lovely though. It's a nice big room with a nice big bathroom.
It is a big room. I bet you actually the size of this room really is probably bigger than the cottage we've been staying in for the last 4 days. It doesn't quite have the atmosphere, but it's a nice clean room. I actually went back after we got done eating dinner and apologize to the front desk lady because I wasn't rude, but I had a storm cloud over my head. And I think she could tell. And especially after you went back and said,
is there any way to fix this? Because my wife's really mad at me.
oh, but I wasn't mad at you. Okay, here's another tip for you traveling folks. If you have one person in the relationship that is the control freak, and that's me for those who may not realize that, just let the control freak do it. And then when they get mad.
Yes, do that.
Yeah, when they get mad, they can only blame themselves. I didn't blame you. What my concern was, and let's just, air our relationship conversations here on this podcast, just double check. Be thorough.
Oh, I've learned my lesson.
I doubt it, because I think we've had a conversation close to this before.
So can we talk about something happier?
Oh, you know what? I think we went through this pretty good.
We did.
You were mad at yourself. And again, I'm not blaming you. I don't think it's your fault. I think Booking.com did something wonky.
I think
never
going to
use them.
I think it was me.
No.
Oh, but let's talk about dinner.
Let's. Because it was I like the way you phrased it. It was a happy accident. Dinner was a happy accident.
It was, because you had your little Maine book that you were consulting, and it said that,
Lobster Shack.
We were going to go to the Lobster
Yeah.
Shack. And then we, put the directions into Google Maps. And when we got to the parking lot, it said that should be the Lobster Shack. But it was not the Lobster Shack. It was called Orweed. So we thought maybe the name had changed or something. Who knew? And we were hungry. So we went ahead.
We had not eaten since breakfast.
No, we just noshed a little bit and had
Right.
some snacks.
So I think there was some hangriness going on.
Oh, total hangriness.
Well, at least that's what I told the hotel clerk when I apologized to her.
So we decided to go ahead to Orweed because we are hangry.
And we're there.
And we're there. And it's right on the beach, like right on the ocean. And we sat outside. There was this lovely breeze. And Beth, what did you eat for dinner?
I had my first whole 1.25 pound Maine lobster.
How was it?
Good until I got to the green stuff.
Okay.
That freaks me out a little bit. But otherwise, the claw meat, the tail meat, all that was good.
And I had a crab melt that was absolutely delightful.
Wasn't yours called the crabby melt? I'm sorry, I couldn't help.
How long have you been waiting to say that?
This coming from a woman who had a bib on during dinner. I didn't put it on there. The lovely waitress did. So
She was really good.
she was cool. She was very cool. When we asked her what we absolutely had to do while we were in Ogunquit, Maine, she said, "You've got what's it called? You got to go to Main Street.
I think it's called Main Street.
Main Street is a gay bar, so she must have pegged us right from the start. I guess it gets pretty wild there, and I had to tell her we go to bed at 9:00, so I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Oh gosh, and it's 8:59 right now. I think we need to wrap this up.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I can get to sleep in a minute.
Because I still have to edit now.
Yeah, we're gonna push it to 9:30 tonight.
We are wild and crazy and living the dream here in Maine.
And still married.
So far, we haven't made it home yet. And what are we doing next? Your guess is as good as ours. Tune in to the next episode to find out. And Instagram is my jam. You can connect with me there at Brassy Broad Jen to follow our Maine adventures. Thanks for listening. Now get out in the world and do some exploring.